Right guys, I've been pulling my hair out for about 4 days trying to make the front end of this pickup fit. It was just a nightmare. Nothing fitted, nothing lined up. I've tried all sorts, but I think I finally cracked it. But we're not out of the woods yet. Let me explain. And it is currently 11 o'clock at night, because I wasn't going to be able to sleep until I figured this out. Alright, so scuttle panel is lining up fairly well. Got a nice gap to the bonnet at the back. Bonnet itself opens up without hitting the scuttle panel, both sides. The bonnet fits really nice against that front panel. There's a little bit of slack, but it does butt up. So the bonnet and the front panel and the scuttle panel are really nice. The wings fit nice against the front panel. I've got a little gap here, but that does nip up with more clamps. This inner wing, the bolt holes aren't too far off, and also it does fit pretty well up here, around here, and down there. Same as the other side. I was having an absolute nightmare with this inner wing. I could either have it back far enough that this gap was nice, but it was too high at the front, or I could have the front low enough that this all fits nice, but I had a massive gap at the back. Now I'm happy that when I push this up into the right place, that gap closes right up, which is what we need. It's a little bit difficult with one hand. Same with this side. If I put the wing back on, just kind of push it back. It's not quite there. There is still a little bit of a gap, but I'm happy I could job on and get that closer. The bonnet gaps aren't too far off. Again, I reckon with a bit of fiddling I can get that closed up and squared off a little bit. This inner wing, it's a bit of a pain because them bolt holes don't line up, but I happen to know that British Motor Heritage have had a batch of dodgy left-hand panels, left-hand inner wings, so I'm not too concerned about that because it does fit everywhere else. Now, the catch. The only way I have managed to achieve this, getting everything to line up, the bonnet to open without hitting things, the wings nice on the front panel nice on the bonnet, wings nice against the scuttle, inner wings up back against the bulkhead where they need to be, is by unbolting the front panel off of the subframe. So I've took them bolts out. That does close up. Just everything's a bit slack at the minute. Which tells me that one of two things. Either that front panel is not straight and it's out of square, or the subframe's bent. Because when I slackened everything off, everything moved this way and it fixed all of my problems. All of the issues I was having on this inner wing, I hadn't even looked at that side yet. Everything I was having on this side just fixed instantly. The bonnet fitted, the wing fitted, the scuttle panel fitted, the front panel fitted. So everything, when I took the two bolts out, has come this way, and now it all lines up. Apart from the front panel onto the subframe through these two bolts. So I need now to work out whether it's the front panel that's wrong or whether it is the subframe that's wrong. Now, I'm in not a bad situation really, because I do have another front panel and I do have another subframe, both of which were intended for my minivan project, but I can borrow them for this and try them one at a time and see if either of them make the problem go away. So you can see there. Excuse the ratchet strap, I was just using that to try and hold things in place when I'm out of hand. So I am gonna tomorrow go and dig out my bits and change the subframe, and fingers crossed that then just lets everything line up. If it doesn't, I'll try the other front panel on, and hopefully that'll, one or the other of them will fix our problem, and we can be done with it. Because I've been pulling my hair out 4 days. I've been trying to make this fit, and I was just getting nowhere. But I'm happy that I've found something, and I'm happy that I've made everything fit by unbolting them. That means either the front panel or the subframe's got to be wrong. Yeah. It's now day 6 of trying to make head and tails, trying to make sense of why this front end doesn't fit. But I think I really have got it this time. I've changed the subframe, as you can see there. This is one out of my own personal collection, which is destined for a project further down the line. Now I don't know that this subframe is good. I can't guarantee that. I haven't had it fitted to a car myself. It was bought in good faith. However, it does seem to fit better than the other one. When I offered it up to the floor, it just seemed to bolt up easier, you know. I didn't have to put a pry bar or a lever in to make the holes on the floor further back line up, which I did have to do on the other one. They did all line up, but I had to push the subframe into place. This one seemed to just fit up nicer. Maybe that's because it hasn't had a subframe on that bulkhead since I've repaired it, or maybe it's because the wheels were on the other one and the weight of it was making it a bit skew with. But for whatever reason, this one just seemed to go in a bit better. The front end does fit better since changing this. I haven't got everything as skew with over as that side like I mentioned earlier. It is all lined up straight. However, I still was struggling massively with panel gaps. Mainly, I could either have the back here where the scuttle panel is nice and lined up, or I could have it nice on the inner wing and the front panel. I was unable to achieve both of them things. So I've had a head scratching, and me and Mrs. Ed's Mini Empire sat down last night and we started again. Took it all off. So something's not right. Let's start again. She was a massive help. Just a fresh pair of eyes, just to look and go, well, that's not right. Can we try this? What have you thought about this? We started again. We took the whole front end back off. and put it back on from the start. And what we did was we put this driver's side inner wing on, and I fitted up the inner A post. I've just got it clamped on down there, and that then gave us some reference points to check this door post, which I was pretty confident was right anyway because the door still fits. But the outlet still fits, and it fits up nice against this. There's a little bit of adjustment here where I've welded the A post. There's a little bit of adjustment needed there, but small potatoes. This kidney piece fits where it touches, but to be honest, I think I'm going to take that off and move it around. But it's in the right kind of area, we're not far off. The scuttle panel, I did have to jiggle it a little bit. I've got a pop riveted on at the minute. I've got the inner wing bolted with one bolt and a pop rivet under here to keep it all in place. The scuttle panel is a little bit off at the top, but I can adjust that and make that right. The bonnet fits nice against the scuttle. The inner wing bolts up nice. And then we try to fit the front panel. And that's where it all became clear what was going on. I have had it on and I do know the solution, but I've took it all back off just so I can explain to you guys from the start exactly what the crack is and what we're going to have to do about it. Luckily it is repairable. We have managed to achieve a good fitment, but it's going to take some jiggery and some messing about to make it right. So I've got the front panels over here. I'll spin the camera around and I'll explain all the crack. So we do have a couple of issues going on here. The green panel is the one that we have intended to fit to the pickup, the one that was bought for this, that we're trying to make work. This bare metal one is one that I bought second hand off a good friend of mine, which is destined for my minivan project in the future. Now, you can see here, first of all, we've got a difference because this is the wrong front panel for the pickup. The pickup has a twin bolt subframe, and this front panel is for a car with a single bolt subframe. Now, the difference between that is a single bolt subframe is to be used with these teardrop, whatever you want to call them, just drop it, mounts, which have got rubber in them, which was supposed to take up a bit of road noise, a bit of harshness on the slightly newer cars. The rest of the subframe is actually rubber bushed as well on the single bolt subframes. The twin bolt subframe like this is solid mounted straight to the body. So the difference we have, but this isn't causing our problem, I just want to make that clear, this isn't the cause of the issue, is this, to make room for this, we've got a step here. So this is actually further in than this one. You can see this across here is flush. So this bolts up to the subframe here, whereas this one, that little rubber mount goes in there and then creates a flush surface here. This is where the bolt goes through. Now, technically speaking, that's the wrong they're the wrong front panel, but it wasn't the end of the world because it'll fit all the same. The only difference is I'd have to use these, which isn't the end of the world. However, this doesn't fit. And then I was pulling my hair out, as you know, so I decided to use this one to see if it fit. And much to my surprise, when I got it out of my little storage shed, I noticed all of this nonsense going on. Now, I didn't notice this at first when I bought the panel because I wasn't interested in fitting it. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. It's clearly had a bit of a life. This bolt here is the original mounting hole, which if you compare to this one, is in a similar position. So I put it on in the original holes, wondering why all of these random holes have been drilled. Thought, I don't know what's going on, I'm going to ignore them. So I've mounted it up here, and I had exactly the same fitment issues on the car as when this one was on. So that got us to thinking, have these holes been put there for a reason? Now, when I offer the front panel up and put the bolts through this hole instead of this hole, everything fits. So, essentially what I'm going to have to do is modify all of this to make it right. Now the problem I've got is this one's obviously already had a bit of a life. I can't really make this one match that one because it's different without making my own panels, which I think would be a bit of a nightmare getting them right. So what I've done is I've been in contact with the company that we've got them off, and they are going to try and get me, you can't buy these separate, these brackets. They're going to try and get me a pair of these brackets, these early type brackets, that I can weld onto here and then re-drill the hole in the correct position to make everything fit, is the plan. So it's a bit of a mission, but I've made it fit. I'm going to have to do some jiggery, some pokery, some drilling, some welding, some unpicking to use this front panel with these brackets and then it'll be right. I'm going to have to, assuming that these brackets come the same as this, maybe when they come they're actually, the holes are actually in the right place. But I might end up having to, I'll show you on this one, modify this area here. Might end up having to move that slightly lower down, if you know what I mean, to make that hole more in the centre, because I'm not happy with how that is at the minute. Yeah, that's the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this up with the other holes, the lower holes, and show you just how far this has come, because it makes me happy to see it all coming together. Right. So with this front panel fitted up with the extra drilled holes, you can see now how close everything just fits. I still did, don't get me wrong, I still did a lot of jiggling and a lot of moving around to get it like this. But this is nice and flush and meets up well. Move it around. This is the right shape, although it does step out a little bit there, but this is quite pliable, so that's not too much of a worry. The inner is lined up nice to the wing. I've got a decent height here for the bottom of the trim, the lip. We've got an okay gap here. It is still a little bit big. I need to do a little bit more moving around with the scuttle panel, I think. I'm not 100% happy with how that's sitting, but it's close. We're getting there now. That gap's too big. So if I can just close that up a little bit, I'll be really, really happy. And the bonnet gap, you can't quite see, obviously, with the bonnet open, but it's nice and uniform all the way along that edge. So I think that is the start of the solution to our problems. What a nightmare, honestly. The problem is, every single part affects every other part, and when you move the bit that you think needs moved, you find that nothing fits. So the wing needs to come up a bit, you move the wing up a bit. Now it doesn't fit the front panel, so you adjust the front panel to fit the wing, and then you find that it's now not touching the inner wing. So then you've got to move the inner wing, but you find that you're already as far back as you can go. So you've got to put that all back, and then find that you need to move the scuttle panel, but then that affects the A-post gap. Absolute brain melter, but we're getting there now. We're getting there. It's coming together. So I need to get that other front panel modified and right and on, and then we can finish fitting it all up. I've got some repairs to do, so I've got stuff to do. I've got the other side in a wing, the left hand side, which isn't fitting too bad, but again it needs a bit of jiggery, a bit of pokery to get it in the exact right place. But I'm happy that we're on the right lines now. If it was easy, everybody would do it, wouldn't they, huh? Ain't nobody doing this. Because it's not easy. Well, I think that's me done. I've used all my brain power. I've got nothing left. If you like this video, I'm sorry it hasn't been quite a dramatic ending. There's no huge transformation because it's not done. But if you like the video, please do give it a like, give it a share. Subscribe, please do subscribe to the channel. If you're watching and you've watched more than one of my videos and you like them, please do subscribe because it makes a massive difference. And I'll be back hopefully soon, and hopefully with some bits that just fit, and everything will be right, and that'll be the end of it, and we can get on to putting things on permanently on the front end, which will be really nice. Feels like I've done something then, doesn't it? But now, that's it from me. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers!